Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Network Africa, coming to you live on Channels Television from Lagos, Nigeria. We have all our top stories on our websites, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Please visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device, especially for our viewers outside of West Africa. m.channelstv.com, and you'll be live to us. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. Central African Republic appears set to conduct the most keenly watched elections by both regional powers and the international community as the noisy rallies mark the end of campaigning by candidates. This election is aimed at restoring democratic rule in a country gripped by years of violence in which thousands have died. Three of the main presidential candidates reportedly organized slow-moving caravans in the capital Bangui with election banners and speakers mounted on trucks tailed by long lines of motorbikes to attract crowds and create buzz for their campaigns. Now, the presidential and legislative elections on Wednesday come in the aftermath of a bitter conflict that has forced nearly 1/5 of the country's 5 million people to flee their homes. The arrest has repeatedly delayed the polls. The polls will feature 30 candidates, apparently 1 woman, 3 Muslims, 3 ex-premiers, and 3 sons of former presidents. Now, let's bring in Bida. Bida Koyangbele is a one-time presidential candidate of the C.A.R. elections. He joins me now from South Africa. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Network Africa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, let's first talk about the preparations ahead of tomorrow's elections. You know, this election has been postponed a couple of times. What is the preparation like?
So I think there is a problem of organization. That this government is not really responsible and doesn't have really the capacity to organize a proper election. But behind it also we've got, that's the source of the problem. In fact, since the colonization, the real problem in this country is France. It's France who used to exploit this country, who used to exploit used to divide the population and to maintain the different crews just to defend and just to preserve our interest. That's the real problem. For example, now I'm sure that you hear many things about the problem between Christian and Muslims. There's no problem between Christian and Muslim. It's France who try to create, to divide us, just behind to exploit our mineral resources, just to impose our vision. And I can say, in fact, France, she would like, in removing the former president, they use this religion problem to divide the population and to maintain the chaos, just to preserve our interest. That's a real problem. There's no problem between Christian and Muslim or different ethnic groups. And that's a real problem. So based on this, France use now, they just want to organize quickly some election to impose their candidates because they know that the candidate of the population, the candidate of the peasant, is going to beat their candidate. So now they want to organize quickly some election, not some proper election. They don't want to organize proper election and proper election. They cannot win in this condition.
Okay, so you have said they, and I believe that could be anyone in question. You said they are organizing these elections in a hurry. Obviously, you do not believe that there is enough preparations in place to conduct free and fair elections. But let's talk about some of the issues that could determine the choice of candidates tomorrow. Because it looks like this election is going to go ahead anyway.
So normally they were supposed to organize this election in January. After they postponed it for June, and after June to October, and now they postponed it for this last Sunday, and now it's for tomorrow. But we can see that today the different people, they didn't have their voter cards. There is no voter list already. So they didn't finish this voter list, and where the population voted for a constitution, we don't have the result of the vote of the constitution, And now they want to organize this election, presidential election, on which base? So you see, there's many wrong things, and you can say that it's not a good election, it's not a credible election, and that's going to be for tomorrow a big problem. So it's not going to be a solution. The solution normally, yes.
Okay, so you obviously don't have that much faith in tomorrow's election. Let me ask you, you dropped out of the polls 2 weeks ago. Could you tell us why? Have you no faith at all in the electoral process?
Hello?
Okay, so I asked you why you dropped out of the race just 2 weeks ago.
I didn't hear you properly, sorry.
You dropped out of the polls 2 weeks ago. Could you tell us why?
2 weeks ago.
You dropped out of the race. You were once
Yes, in fact, it's Ambassador of France who asked the President of the Constitutional Court to remove my name in the list of candidates. Because France thinks that the colonization is not actual and who are going to be candidates in. That's like we said to them that we're going to show them soon that colonization is finished. So, because it's our right to be candidate in our country or in Africa. So, but it's for all these reasons that this election cannot be a good election. And they decide to remove my name in the list because they know that I'm not going to be there to defend the interests, but I'm going to be there to defend the interests of Africa and the interests of my people.
Okay, then, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Tomorrow is still the date slated for Central African Republic elections. It's been moved a few times, and the people appear ready to go ahead. Thank you so much, Bida Koyagbele, a former presidential candidate in the upcoming elections in Central African Republic tomorrow. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Network Africa. The frantic search for gold in Kenya's Western Osiri mine is increasingly becoming a dangerous quest as miners expose themselves to unimaginable health risk. The Osiri mine is home to about 3,000 small-scale miners who risk their lives in search of gold. The operations are largely unregulated and miners use toxic mercury to extract the gold despite the known health risk. VOA's Lenny Rovaga reports.
24-year-old Fred Visengi looks for gold in ore he extracted from a nearby mine. The tools of his trade: mercury, water, and a metal bowl. He has been doing this for the past 4 years, earning about $100 per month. Visengi knows the mercury is dangerous.
The government has not provided an alternative way of extracting gold or any other chemical. If we got a solution from the government, we would be in a better position to help improve our extraction methods.
Side effects of handling mercury include damage to the brain, liver, and lungs.
I cannot stop mining because this is how I earn my living. If I stop working, where will I go? I have to mine, even if it's harmful to my health. I have no choice.
Artisanal or small-scale mining is illegal in Kenya, but the ban is rarely enforced, nor are work conditions regulated. Injuries are common as miners can lack even helmets and boots. David Maganya, the founder of the NGO I Hope, says he is making little headway in training miners on safety measures when it comes to mercury and other risks.
The challenge comes in terms of affordability. Like we talk about, they have to use the personal protective equipment, that is the nose masks, the gloves, and all that. It is difficult for them to afford this one on a continuous basis.
Legalizing artisanal mining could be a first step to improvement. A bill to regulate both large and small-scale mining is before Parliament.
One, licensing. They need to be licensed so that they know where to go. Secondly, there needs to be land use plan for the areas and identification of the spots that they can specifically go to do their mining from these places. This is wealth that is available and they should be able to get it.
The miners formed a labor union 4 years ago to advocate for protective gear and support for miners disabled or injured on the job. The union is trying to partner with a German organization to obtain the gear at a reduced cost.
In a moment on Network Africa, Zimbabwe delays the stable salaries for most of its public sector workers in a sign of a severe cash crunch. Join us again.